welcome everybody to the Spa Francorchamps 2024 Formula One World Championship Round 13. We are here in lovely Spa, and well, what can we say? Hello to Bob Elvis, first of all, obviously. My wishes go to the Southport parents. I think you're referring to this particular meme that we've done. Yes, I completely agree. And also, what else? And good evening and to you, everybody in chat, and good evening to Bob. Thank you so much for being with us. It was a strange race. I'm joined, as always, by the incomparable, fantastic, fabulous, and basically furry, excuse me, Fabio.
Hello, hello.
Peace. And I'm also joined here by, hello, Wolfin, Lucky Wolfin, number 7. How are you, sir?
Good evening. I'm here. The rest, there we go. That comes up now.
Hello, were old. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Wonderful. So we went to Spa. We came, we saw, we bathed, and we came back in red. It was disastrous, of course, as we all know, for one particular person. Yeah, what can I say? Kurt Russell. He escaped from Spa, but only just within an inch of his sanity, because, as we'll find out, there was trouble ahead, trouble in their hills. Anyway, let's just get on with the race review straight away, because that's what we're all here for, isn't it? Okay, so a fantastic qualifying. Max Verstappen taking pole, although he took a engine penalty. 10 places. Started in 11th. That left the second place person in pole, which was Charles Leclerc. The pacey pastry, Leclerc. It's a pun on pacey pastry. It's a pun on Leclerc. Good to see Ferrari back with a lot of speed in qualifying. Was it going to be replicated in the race? We didn't know until the race started. We didn't know, and it wasn't. Sainz started on hard tyres, Leclerc on medium. The strategy was going to be a 2-stop. Virtually the whole field did 2 stops, except for the Astons and a few other people. A lot of people wish they had come the end of the race. Second place, Sergio Perez, back on form. The Sergio is back. Everybody, let's just slap, round of applause. Everybody had such high hopes, including Herman, Marco Helmut. Marco Helmut said that it was good to see him back. We're expecting great things from Sergio Perez. Great things were to be expected, starting in second place. And of course, that all went up the shitter. Third place, Lewis Hamilton. Fourth place, Piastri, I beg your pardon. Then Lando, then Russell, then the would-be runners, Astons, etc., a few others. There were a few creditable mentions, of course, as always, but we won't bother mentioning them because most of them are French. Okay, moving onwards swiftly into the start. 5 lights out. Leclerc getting away to a great start. Hamilton matching that great start, getting down the inside of Perez. Perez getting pushed a little bit wide. Leclerc getting away perfectly. Perez and Hamilton alongside each other. Hamilton pulling ahead through Le Rouge. And away, basically. Perez trying to fight back. Lewis covering off the inside, getting a great slipstream from Leclerc and not letting Perez anywhere near it. Then Piastri pushing Russell slightly wide. Russell having to go off circuit and then coming back on behind the Australian. I was going to call him South African for a moment there. always get those two accents mixed up. So really a great start for Leclerc and Hamilton. Perez and Lando going around the outside dipped his wheel onto the gravel and lost a lot of places. That was to be his race done for. He almost fell back behind the Astons. It was so far. Eventually, he fell back behind Sainz. In the meantime, Verstappen, starting from 11th, came through the pack very quickly by the second lap. He was up to something like 8th place, just behind Alonso. Lap 3, he was past Alonso. And then we came to the ads, as always. Always the exciting part, everybody waiting to know who our sponsors are this week. This week, our sponsors are George Russell, who says, go fuck yourselves. So, George Russells, if you want a George Russell in your life, you can go fuck yourself as well. There we go. FIA, he doesn't give it two shits for it. Back to the race. Lewis Hamilton, out front, getting caught by Leclerc. Lap 3. Sergio Perez dropping back and going out of range. Then lap 11, George Russell first to pit with Verstappen trying to undercut. The undercut is powerful at Spa. Then lap 12, Lewis covers it. Sergio covers that. And Piastri comes out, losing a place. That left a 1-2 for the Scarlet. A 1-2 for the Scarlet. We had high hopes. Oh, did we have high hopes? Us Tifosi were really in it there for a moment. Still, nonetheless, the race continued. Norris in a good place, haven't pitted yet. Still on medium tyres, trying to go long to get an alternate strategy. And, fair enough. He did well. Piastri coming through, getting past Russell, and staying on the tail of Perez. Stroll also doing well at this point. It looked like he was going to do a one-stop, and it looked like he was going to make it work. That wasn't to be the case, just to show that a one-stop was not always the best policy or the best strat. A lot of people said afterwards that they wish they'd done a one-stop. That's still to be decided whether it was the best strategy or not. Anyway, then lap 16, Norris into the pits, drops down below Verstappen. A lot of people saying that might have been the doing for Norris completely. However, he obviously was trying to go longer on his tyres. Personally, I think he should have covered off Verstappen. Nonetheless, here we are. Lap 16, lap 17. Sainz going very, very wide, pushing his tyres hard. And again, on the second set, which he had, I believe, which were mediums. Sainz started on hard. He pitted early onto mediums. That was lap 21. Russell then, as early as 26. Let's think about a one-stop, he says to his team. The one-stop. Okay, they go, yeah, let's do it. And, of course, having started on mediums, they put him onto hards, and he was then in second place. Norris and Perez having a bit of a ding-dong. Norris, of course, overtaking down the Kemmel and easily getting past Perez. Perez complaining his car was very slow. And rightly so, I think. Also, Verstappen finding he was a little slow, although quicker than Perez. Then Hamilton, lap 34, lap 36 on the radio. How much quicker do I have to be to catch Russell? The answer, you'll catch him. Don't worry about it. Of course, that was to prove to be incorrect. Piastri and Leclerc getting together. I mean, a solid defence by Leclerc, but the McLaren just too fast in a straight line in race pace. Plus the tyre advantage that Piastri had was too much. Then, of course, 6 laps to go. Lewis looking in sight of Russell. Looked like it was going to be a slam dunk. He was up to 7/10 a lap faster on average, with 6 or 7 laps to go. So he should easily have been ahead. Then Leclerc getting past, Sainz getting past Perez finally, and getting the upper hand on him there. Russell really picked up the pace, really. With Piastri closing in, though, it was looking to be a very tight finish, and Hamilton firmly on the back of Russell. As I say, Piastri closing in at an astounding rate, maybe up to a second a lap. It looked like it was going to be a humdinger, but Russell seemed to pull out the stops towards the very end, increased his pace, pulled out from those very old tyres, which had done 30-odd laps, and managed to stay ahead. To finish the race, Russell 1, Hamilton 2, Piastri 3, Leclerc 4, Verstappen 5, up from 11, Norris behind him, feeling disappointed. Then Sainz on the hard tyres, Perez disappointing 8th, Alonso and Ocon. And that was to be the finishing positions. However, of course, there was some controversy after the race, and we will discuss all of that. Needless to say, at this point, everybody was very, very happy. Russell coming home the winner, if not a Pyrrhic victory, at least. He seemed delighted at the time. Unfortunately, his car was then later to be FIA failed through the inspection, and his car disqualified. So I'm going to hand that over now to. Oh, sorry. Let me just get this. Russell did 24 laps on the hard tyre. Yes. Oh, was it 24? I thought it. Yeah, 34. Okay. I thought it was over 30. I was unsure still. I was getting carried away with the thing. But you're right. 34 laps. So yes, that was it. Later to be disqualified, which meant Hamilton won the race, Piastri second, Leclerc third, Verstappen fourth, taking extra points again away from Norris, who finished behind him in fifth place. Sainz sixth, Perez eighth, Perez seventh, Alonso eighth, Ocon ninth, and Ricciardo finishing in the point with 1 point, 1 point, around that part of the world. So there we go. Came into the pits at the end of the 10th lap. Yes, there we go. He did. He pitted early. He covered Verstappen as they were going to pit. So I think it was always in their mind to try and give Lewis the win. But nonetheless, it didn't happen that way. I'm sure that'll cause some controversy here on the panel. Over to you, Fabio, for your.
Yeah, I missed everything you said at the end. Just so you know, your mic was clipping. But yeah,
it? Okay.
I mean, it was a very good race actually. I mean, the whole weekend was amazing. Starting from the Friday where the Mercedes were nowhere to be found, so nobody was actually expecting them, and they turned out, to have a fantastic race. Verstappen was expected, to jump back, but it didn't really happen. Actually, the Red Bulls, they were quite slow compared to what we've seen at the beginning of the season. In the last laps, Verstappen was trying to overtake Leclerc, and he couldn't, even under DRS, for more than one lap. I think it was like 2 or 3, maybe 4 laps at the end where he was under the second, but he couldn't overtake him. So yeah, everybody was expecting the McLaren. They delivered with Piastri. Norris made the usual start. He just it just went too fast on the accelerator at the first corner, and he just went wide. Everybody and his brother passed him by. Same race from Perez, from second to whatever. It was a very, as I said, it was a very, very, very interesting race. There were a lot of things going on. The first one, I would say, the resurrection of the Mercedes. They changed the floor. Friday were nowhere to be seen. They were really, really, really bad. They get back, and they found some kind of solution. Apparently, nobody was expecting them. They were really fast, consistent. The other big surprise were the tires. everybody was expected to have a certain degradation of the tires, according to the data on Friday, which didn't really happen. I mean, granted, the temperature was a little bit higher on Sunday, so that helped, but nobody was expecting. I mean, Spa is a two-stop race, no question asked, and the fact that Russell was able to win, well, actually to get the checker flag first, with one stop was really, really surprising. And I'm sure that there were a lot of nervous people in the Pirelli area of the pit, because they wanted the tire to get to the end. Hamilton was really pissed at the end because and he said multiple times that every time I made the stint, I already had the tire. I asked for the same strategy. They didn't make me do that, so it was really pissed. To be fair, the radio communication between Russell and Hamilton were quite different. I mean, Russell was actually asking in a more positive way to do that, while Hamilton was. I'm sure his intention were the same, but it was kind of asking. So maybe there was that. What else? Too bad for Ricciardo. He was 10th at a certain point, but he was overtook by I think Ocon at the very last. For the 10th place, so no points for him. What else? I mean, there was something. Yeah, I mean, the whole weekend was fantastic, and I just want to point out. I think it was. Can't remember if it was on Saturday. No, maybe on Sunday morning. The best of a take I've seen in Spa, for a long time. It didn't happen in F1, but it happened in F2 with Kimi Antonelli overtaking, I can't remember who, at the Eau Rouge Radillon. They were going side to side, going up. On the outside, it was goosebumps. So yeah, fantastic weekend. Great race. There were, I think, let me see, because I think I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, the top 6 drivers were in 9.8 seconds, which, wow. Astonishing. Lap times were good. Sainz made a good race. Ferrari made a good first part of the race. And then they ran into the same problem that with low fuel, the porpoising, the bumping started, kicking in. So yeah, they couldn't push as well as they did at the beginning of the race. That would be my recap.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, very great. Let me just say hello to Missing Mod. Thank you so much for being right here. Please remember to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And very good to see you. I am doing absolutely fine. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you on your channel soon when I next see you go live. Anyway,
can I just say one quick thing? There was something that Babelvis wrote on the site.
I'm getting to that. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well,
so he says 34 laps in Spa equal to 55 laps in Canada or 41 in Japan.
Well,
it's a hell of a way to go.
Yeah, no, but it's the second part which is saying, what is saying, Russell did no victory lap, came directly into the pit.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna
okay, so that is not something that has happened this year. It's every time in Spa. They don't make the parade lap, and the reason is, I think it's, I can't remember if it's 7 kilometers or 7 miles. It's very long. So
it's 7 kilometers, 7.8 or something. 7.8.
Yeah, so they would have issues with the fuel. And so all the races in Spa, they end after the first hairpin, and they just make them get in. So it's not something that they didn't know, right? They did. They just shit bad.
Okay, I haven't subbed to your new channel. I will do so immediately, though. Thank you. And everybody else, anybody watching, please sub to Missing Mod. She's great. Okay, so basically the point is no time to pick up tire marbles. It is a very good point. I mean, obviously, Mercedes knew that was the case, that there isn't time at Spa to pick up tire marbles. So I'm not sure that could be used as kind of he could have done it, but he was only under by what 1.5 kilos, I think you said, Fabio.
Yeah, so the car was weighted twice with two different sets of scales, and at the end the car was 798 kilograms, which is the minimum weight. The rule, I think it's the point 4.1, says that the minimum weight has to be 798 kilograms without fuel.
Yeah.
So they weighed the car, and they still had fuel in it. So when they took away the fuel, which I think it was 2.8 liters, I mean it was
2.8. Yeah.
yeah.
2.8 kilos. 2.8 kilos.
No. It was 2.8 liters. It's lighter.
liters,
So
okay.
it went down by 1.5 kilograms. It was
This was after
underweight by
they'd
one.
taken the sample weight out. Okay.
No, okay. So they weighted the car before taking the sample.
Yeah.
But the sample, because I've read articles, but that is the sample thing is misleading. The rule
it's
says
a very small amount, right? Yeah.
yeah, but it has
Right.
nothing to do with the sample. It has to do with
No.
how much.
You missed what I'm going to say. You missed what I'm going to say. I'm just saying that this was one of the things that potentially was labelled at Mercedes, is that they took the sample weight out and said, even though it was just the sample and that's a very small amount, they said, no, we've taken that, we've emptied the car, and here's the sample.
Yeah, so
You see what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Just the way
yeah.
they said it is a bit misleading. That's all.
So okay. So what happened basically is that they weighed the car with the remaining fuel, and they weighed it twice, and it was 798. Then they took the sample, which is really a small amount, but the problem was not the sample. The FIA knows exactly how much fuel is left in the car because they have.
Yeah. I
Because
get
they
that I get that it's not the sample, right?
Yeah, no. I'm not
ahead,
disagreeing with you. I'm just restating the obvious. Probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
So the FIA knows exactly how much fuel is in the tank because they have fluxometers, and so they know. And they said, okay, your car has 2.8 liters of fuel. The rule says that the minimum weight is 798 without fuel, which is important because I also read that the weight is 798 dry. That's not the
It's
case.
not dry, no.
It's without the fuel. So they said the 2.8 liters of fuel weighed 1.5 kilograms. That's how much you're down, and that was it.
Yeah. I'm just saying, Mercedes maybe not fooled them or tried to fool them, just said it in a misleading way, in the hopes maybe that it would be missed and the FA wouldn't check the car. That's all I was saying. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
also, let me just say, if he had have been able to pick up rubber, it's only whatever it is, 350 grams per wheel that he would have needed to pick up. Not a huge amount. Probably still more than a car would pick up on a normal lap. But nonetheless, there we go.
I mean, I kind of disagree on normal tracks, like Silverstone or Mons, whatever, just pick one. They can get, from 800 grams to 1.5, 1.8 kilograms. So
that's what I mean.
it's not. I mean, it's a fair amount, right?
Yeah, I'm saying that they only needed 350 grams per wheel, and they would have been back up to weight again. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
but
not a lot. But when he pulled into the pits, of course, he had no time to pick up any rubber whatsoever.
Yeah.
His tyres were clean as, and of course, they'd also worn. One of the things Mercedes said is, of course, he did a lot more laps than we thought, and that accounts for some of the weight. Right? They were trying all sorts of excuses. I'm just saying. Anyway,
let's put it like this: if he'd come in and changed tires twice, his car probably wouldn't have been underweight at the end of the race.
Okay, so the tire thing is another misleading thing. It says in the rules, like for example, if it's a wet race, right, and and they had to weigh the car, they put a new set of slick tires before weighing them, because they know that wet tires have an abnormal, wear. They might have an abnormal wear. So the tire thing is already taken care of in the rules. Basically, what the cars, what the manufacturer had to do is to have a car which is 798 kilograms with the rims. And then you can infer that that the tire might weigh at least, I don't know, 400 grams per tire in the very worst case scenario. But you got to be on the safe side. That's what I'm saying. That can be a good excuse by Mercedes or anybody.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, as I'm thinking, Mercedes forgot to account for no victory lap. That is one of the things they were claiming. I'm not certain it's that, because Spa actually, is famous for not having a victory lap because of the length. Abnormal wear on the old tyres. Yeah, it's certainly abnormal for what they were expecting. But like Fabio's saying, if they thought that there was a chance that they were going to do a one-stop, which they did, they talked about doing a one-stop before. In fact, before the race in the strategy meeting, Hamilton said, "I'd like to do a one-stop." So there was a chance that they were going to do. It was on the cards that a one-stop could have been called. So again, just a big fuck up by Mercedes, really, here, I think. Anyway, I'd like to pass it over to. I'd like to pass it over to Lucky.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. If he'd peed in the seat before he got out, it would have added 500 grams, maybe.
There you go. Another option.
Moving on. Where were we? We were at Spa. Of course, we were at Spa. And we'll start with the man, the myth, the legend. He is Logan Sargent.
Oh, oui.
Oh, the rugby. You mean the rugby player?
Oh.
Okay, well.
May we.
Hey,
hang on a second. I've got to just stop you there. Hello, Brian. Thank you so much for stopping by. Good evening. Big hugs to you, sir.
Hello. Wherever you are.
Right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Badger. Yeah. Good evening, Badger. Logan Sargent. Another lackluster, uninspired performance from Logan this weekend. Qualified somewhere near the back and finished somewhere near the back. And that's about as much as we can say about Logan this week. However, there is, of course, good news. I don't know if you've heard, but Logan's seat next year will be taken by young Carlos Sainz at Williams.
Indeed.
So
it's been confirmed today.
Yeah, it has indeed. So bye-bye, Logan. Hello, Sainz. Let's hope that he does better than Logan. Well, you can't really do worse than Logan, can you?
No, I'm going to stop you again to say, hello. Thank you for stopping by, and please remember to like and all that good stuff as well. And hopefully we'll get to speak soon. I've missed you awfully. Go ahead.
Okay, so there's the DQ. We'll come to that in a minute.
Okay, well, let me just say one thing quickly, because I don't think you're going to say it. So you were on Carlos Sainz being at Williams. Great news.
Yeah.
Sergeant Logan Sargent said, he said one thing is he did a good job for Williams. He was very happy because he held up some people to allow Albon to get ahead. Albon, of course, finishing out of the points. Okay, go ahead.
Well, indeed. I don't think anybody's going to miss Logan Sargent in Formula One, are they really? Unless you're an American, of course, and you don't count.
Well, only if they go home early. And then they'll miss him crossing the line if they go home after the winner, goes.
But, the race itself, I think once again, Fabio keeps talking about this, but doesn't mention it this time. Norris showed his lack of racecraft at the start of the race. Somebody needs to give him a bit of a talking to. Fabio, I think you need to call him up and tell him how to start a fucking race. because he doesn't seem to be able to get the first 2 or 3 corners of a race for some reason. I don't know what it is, but he always seems to compromise himself at the start of races. And he needs to get out of that. I don't know if it's more experience or what it is. He just doesn't get something, but he needs to get this race start down, or he's going to end up as he was there this weekend. Was it 4th or 5th? 4th, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, he finished 5th. To be fair, though, we were communicating at the time, and the very first thing Fabio said to me was, Norris has had another shitty start. I think you said, good start by someone and bad start by Norris. Oh! Let me just explain to everybody why Fabio has got his hands on his head in dismay. Probably because there's an Italian fencer. And when I say fencer, I'm not regarding somebody who does garden fences. No. I'm not regarding I'm regarding a foil merchant. And I don't mean somebody who's baking or roasting. I'm talking about sword play. Fabio is watching 2 men play with their swords right now. So that
I'm really super sorry. I mean, it's getting hectic. It's the final for the gold medal, individual men foil, and they are 14-14, and apparently the guy from Hong Kong stroked the last one, but they're still watching the replay. So I'm a little bit on the edge. I'm sorry.
So you're saying that the Chinese guy stroked his sword? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. They're still 14-14. Go ahead. Carry on. I mean, I'm a little bit on the edge of my seat here. But I'm listening, barely. Okay. But yeah.
That's fine. I'll play your part. I'll do an accent and everything.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Lucky.
Okay. As you said last week, Fabio, body double. Norris is hopeless at starts, and he needs to get that sorted out. However he manages to do it, but he needs to get that sorted out.
Yeah.
Hamilton, 2 wins in a row for Hamilton. Wow. What's happening to Leclerc though? He just doesn't seem to have any race pace in that Ferrari. Is it the car, or is it Leclerc? I'm really not sure. What do you think, Fabio?
No, it's so I said it before, the issue which happened is that when they go down on fuel, the car is lighter and they get the bouncing back. So at the end of the race, the performances are really are worse than at the end, and that is an issue they haven't solved yet because they had to get back from the updates that they brought. Fuck me. There's still another decision on that. Sorry, there is another decision on the replay. It's very tense. It's 14-14. That's a lot.
You should have seen the Sabres. I tell you.
I saw them. I saw all of them. One of my kids used to play sword, so I'm kind of into the sport. But anyway, so they took away most of the updates they did. They're probably going to show up with something in Monza, but right now they're kind of in the same situation as Mercedes is, but Mercedes, on the contrary, seem to have found something which Ferrari didn't, and they had to get back. So that is the main issue with Ferrari right now. When they get to the end, lighter car, bouncing, and they're fucked.
Yeah, but by way of mentioning, I also used to foil. I was reserve for England, and there you go. Just something you didn't know about me.
Reserve what though? That's the thing.
Foil. I used to play I was on the foil. My brother was épée. My brother was made the épée team, and I used to.
Oh, okay.
I used to foil.
Yes. All right. And did you use a saber?
No, I never.
No, you use a foil.
I was a foil.
I mean, yeah.
I wasn't good enough. The better you are, the heavier the swords get, basically. So it goes foil, épée, saber.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, carry on with your recap.
Back to the Formula One.
Okay.
We talked last week about Hulkenberg and his moment at Silverstone. This week's shit your pants moment, I think, went to Carlos Sainz. bit of oversteer and nearly lost it big time towards the end of the race. Again, that was on the lighter fuel, which is causing the problem for Ferrari. Where else do we need to go? Was this two-stop strategy the right one at the end of the day? I'm not so sure. Hamilton was only half a second behind at the end of the race, and Piastri was only another 0.6 behind Hamilton.
Yeah.
So, as a result of the disqualification, was it a good plan? And I mean, what you've got to remember is that it doesn't matter how good your strategy is if your car's not at the right weight. So,
Of course.
That's the way I see it. They messed up.
Yeah,
it could have been Hamilton that had that problem, but it wasn't. It was Russell. Tough shit.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things to say, really, isn't there? Obviously, it's not deliberate. They didn't think that they were going to pull a fast one. It was a genuine mistake. So, for whatever reason, I think Bub might have a point here that maybe they were thinking that they would come in as with the usual weight of tyres, having picked up the account, and they obviously they forgot. Whoever was in their planning forgot that you can't do that here, and you need to put a bit of extra weight on the car. If
you'd run the same race but had 2 pit stops, I bet you that car would have been legal. Because
I have no idea.
No
idea. I can't believe that the tires weigh that 1.5 kilos different.
I mean, regardless of how you see that, it's the team's fault. There is no way around it. There is no question about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't the driver's fault. You can't blame the driver. No.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I mean, Russell drove extremely well. Out in front, he managed to conserve the tyres, obviously. And I think that is one of the issues which has been undersold this year. I don't know whether Bub would agree with this, but it seems to me we're now in the third year of these regs, and we're now back to the wake of the cars really destroying the tyres of the car behind. Just like it was, in previous years. It's always been an issue, really, hasn't it? And it always will be an issue. There was supposed to be some new regs coming in that sort of dealt with this, but the teams have got back the downforce now, and we're back to if you're following a car, your tyres, especially your front tyres, will be torn to pieces. And so Piastri mentioned it in the race, of course. And as soon as he got into clear air, he was like, "Oh my goodness, I can conserve my tyres. I can keep the temps down." So in some sense, George drove a fantastic race to be able to conserve his tyres for that long. And it's just a shame that the team messed up on his behalf, really. But nonetheless, I'm happy. I'm happy because. Like someone said, that's 1.5 Ferraris on the podium almost, with Lewis Hamilton being an honorary Ferrari member now.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good thing. Anything else you'd like to add there?
No, I mean, apart from the DQ, it was quite an uneventful race, really. There wasn't really anything to talk about. There was no exciting things happened. The few overtakes that happened were on the end of the Camel Straight, and how exciting is that? It wasn't that exciting.
Yeah.
Race.
Well, they shortened the DRS this year, and it was a bit better.
Yeah.
In fact, it made the difference because it was more like a traditional race.
Yes.
Right. I was sitting there watching this race, thinking, do you know what? This is how it used to be in the days before DRS, when you couldn't get by. You had to drive really, really well through the corners in order to get up close to make the overtake.
You have to brake, like the overtake that Piastri and Leclerc, they did. So you got.
Bub says yes. It seems the cars will not come closer than about 0.7 of a second behind the leading car. Yeah, exactly, and it means they're quick to go out of DRS as well. There's also a question: did Perez pass the SPA exam? Will he be replaced? That's a question for you there, Lucky.
I believe he did pass the SPA exam. Christian Horner was interviewed and is quite adamant that he's going to be a driver at Red Bull next year.
Yeah.
So there doesn't seem to be any change in it. I guess the lure of his money is just too much for him to turn down.
Yeah.
It's gonna drive the truck from Red Bull in Zandvoort. That's what it's gonna drive.
I think it's a false question though, because there is no exam for him to pass. The only person trying to set an exam was Helmut Marko, right? And Perez is not, doesn't like Marko. I mean, Perez and Marko don't get on. They're not exactly chums like, Ricardo or not Ricardo. Like who am I thinking of? Tsunoda. And there's one other, Lawson. So I just think that all of the talk in the media was from Helmut before this. Putting the pressure on Perez was all from Helmut Marko. There was not a word from Christian Horner. Christian was just saying, look, we just need him to pull his socks up. We need him to get points. That's all. And he got points, right? He did get points. He came 7th. And there you go.
Yeah, but it's because, so there was never a spike, Sam. The old management by Red Bull about these drivers, especially this year, it blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, first of all, I mean, we've been known Perez for, what, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah,
and
we've been saying he's on his last race.
For
at least 2 years.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that there is a lot of data, for anybody, or especially Red Bull, to figure out if they should keep the guy or not. Okay? It can't revolve around Spa 2024. That's so. But also, the thing which blew my mind was that they renew his contract for 2 years with a clause that he has to be 100 points at maximum behind. I mean, it's mental, And now, what I think is going to happen is that Perez is gone. They are going to put Ricciardo on the Red Bull, because Ricciardo is safer for them, because if it's good, it's good, and if it's bad, Ricciardo is that's his last chance, and bye bye.
And he's still better than Perez, even if he's bad.
Of course. Instead of Tsunoda, which has more points than Ricciardo, and they're gonna put Lawson on the team with Tsunoda to make a war. To make a war with the guy which has already... I mean, if I were Tsunoda, I would be super pissed, I mean, my employee has no fucking faith in whatever the fuck I'm doing, right? I mean, I'd be super pissed.
Well, he kind of was. I mean, there was a point in the race where Verstappen came up behind Tsunoda. And did he just jump out of the way like normal? No, he did not.
No, yeah.
Yeah, he literally made Verstappen drive around him offline in order to get past him. And I in my head, right, I could hear Verstappen's voice going, what is this fucking guy doing? Get him out of the way. Yeah. What the fuck is this? Swearing his ass off so he doesn't get on radio, right? Because that's a new rule as well, which is they're not going to transmit drivers who swear on the radio, right, so much, right? They want to cut out the swearing. That was a new thing the FIA were trying to cut down on, or Liberty Media. And of course, the first words out of Verstappen's thing were, well, fuck that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's playing into Verstappen's head. Now he doesn't have to worry about being an arsehole on the radio because he can just swear.
but so, okay, the thing is that I'm going to say something really strong here. I understand Verstappen. So I totally get the guy. But it's not his fault. It's the fault is from the Red Bull organization, that puts Tsunoda in that position. So I get Verstappen and say, what the fuck is he doing? We are sister teams or whatever the fuck. And the guy in the car says, fuck you, fuck everybody, fuck the world. I mean, I'm making the best of what I have with this piece of shit of car. I'm better than the other driver, and they're gonna put the other guy in the better car, and they're gonna put me against Lawson. So I got to prove myself again. So
Yeah.
it's mental. It's totally mental.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I just want to
Getting back to
go ahead.
Perez just briefly. Helmut Marko just destroyed Perez after the race and said that he completely collapsed at the end of the race, and didn't have a good word to say about his performance.
That's what I'm
Sunday.
saying.
So
that's what I'm saying. I mean, Marco's trying to get one of his two drivers into the team to show his strengths, as it were. And his two drivers are the Red Bollocks drivers, whatever they're called. I can't remember.
And by the way, fuck Hong Kong, fuck the judges, fuck those guys. I mean, it's silver medal, but it was a travesty. It was. I mean, I know. I mean, you do, Simons, but I know that swords, it's not a very common sport, but they had two assaults, the last two assaults on foil, which is how they call so the referee reconstructs the action, the precedents and stuff. Yeah. The last two attacks on 14 all, they repeat the point, which is unheard of on foil. It doesn't exist.
Okay, so let me just put some context there. The person who starts the attack first has right of way, right? Yeah. So that means that the other person has to catch blade. Otherwise, if the attack gets through, it's counted for the attacker.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's the first person to start the attack basically usually wins at that level anyway, and it's usually fairly clear looking on replay who starts first.
Yes.
You can yelp because the front foot starts the attack. And It's very clear. It's very clear who moves their.
It can be difficult. First. It can be difficult, but you're at the Olympics, so I mean,
you got replays. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Okay, so fuck that. Fuck Ocon. Okay. Ocon actually, funnily enough, the Alpines had a pretty good race in general. They turned out to be a little faster than some of the other midfield teams that they've been up against, like.
Actually said fuck Hong Kong, not Ocon, but
okay, fuck Hong Kong. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, fuck Ocon and Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah.
There we go. Okay.
And Bottas.
I'm just trying to turn it back to Formula One. So there
no,
we go.
You're right. I'm sorry. So I'm a little bit pissed. Yeah.
Bob says Verstappen won big in Spa. Now he can lose 7.8 points per race weekend, up from 6.8. That is huge. Verstappen on 277 points. Norris on 199, and Leclerc 100 points behind on 177. So, I mean, that's, 78 points. So, as you say. So, I mean, that's huge. That's huge. I would just remind you, Bub, that, Hamilton Hamilton almost caught somebody with this kind of deficit before. So if Verstappen starts having some really bad weekends and Norris does pick up, then it's still not out of the question. Maybe 2 DNFs, 2 Norris wins, and everything to play for again. Just saying, it's about DNFs mainly. It's not about how many points per race you can lose, because 25 is the possible 26, obviously. Anyway, there we go. Over to you, Lucky. Anything you'd like to say before we go on to the last section?
Well, I think that the second place in the Constructors' Championship is maybe what is really to play for between the Mercedes engine teams and Ferrari. But McLaren are still 100 points ahead of Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah.
So they've got a long way to come back, and Ferrari aren't that far behind. They're only like 21 points behind McLaren. So it's going to be between those two unless we get a really resurgent Mercedes team.
Yeah, I mean, it's still McLaren could still do it. They're only 50 odd points. It's not 50. It's a little less than that, somewhere around there.
It's
So
366 to 408. 366 408.
yeah,
Yeah, that is the main reason why they're pissed at Perez, because they really risk to lose the championship, the manufacturer,
Yeah.
which is where the money is, right?
Yeah.
This is where the
Yeah, yeah.
money really is.
Yeah, it's something like a 15 odd million difference, is it? I think something like that.
There is a silver lining, though. It seems to me that I'm getting closer to be among the three of us of getting the right number of races that Verstappen is going to win this year.
That is very true. Yeah, that is very
Yeah.
true. Yeah, I think you said 16, did you?
Yeah, I was the lower of the three.
I
of
mean,
you.
I'm already up past mine already. So,
Oh yeah, you guys
Yeah,
are
yeah.
fucked. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So there you go. Is
think
there
we-
anything else you'd like to say about the weekend in general, Lucky?
No, it was just an unforgettable race.
Midfield
really.
teams, yeah, it was. The back teams were forgettable. All the
Yeah.
action was at the front. It was really nice to see a straight race, by which I mean the teams started. They basically raced each other to the end, with very little overtaking. Genuinely speaking, mostly pit strategy. I felt that was quite a nice thing to see again. So. It's been a while. It's been like one person dominating the Grand Prix for quite a while now. So that'd be good. Of course, the next race where are we, Bob? Next race? I know where we are, Fabio. It's a rhetorical
sorry.
question.
Sorry.
It was a fun race. I feel for Russell, one of my favourite drivers. Yeah, he's a good driver, although he's having a hard time in the market right now. And of course, we are in Bub's home country, so we will be at the Netherlands, as they say, Netherlands, and on the 23rd to the 25th, which is 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
So we are officially on the summer break, and that'll be great.
It was interesting to see, and we talked about it last time, and Lucky was saying something about it while I was swearing my ass off against those fuckers over here. The difference, where we're talking about the fact that Norris is an excellent driver, but is not a champion. The difference that between Russell and Norris in the management of the race. To me, that was, quite interesting. It showed. I mean, my opinion is that Russell is a different cloth of Norris right now. Is way more on the race. Is way more of a champion driver. Suggesting strategies and imposing strategies. Which Norris, right now is not in that same league. He's fast, but it's not in the same league.
He's extremely talented driver. I mean, everybody,
Yes, yeah.
everybody that's raced with him knows that he's dogged, determined. He doesn't make many mistakes, except it seems like at the very top. But let's face it, many great drivers have had that trait as well. I seem to remember Schumacher when he was being caught from behind at a rapid rate, used to make mistakes, right? So, and Lewis is probably like when trying to overtake for first place, always made mistakes, right? If he was right on the back of somebody, that was Lewis's weak point. So yeah, I think the lad's got some time.
Yeah.
Lucky is spot on with the analysis of he needs to go away and spend time at a circuit, not racing round, but just doing starts. He needs to practice starts. He needs to spend days doing them, just wearing clutches out until he gets it down, because that's the weak point.
I think Russell's got the advantage of experience as well over Lando, not only in age but also in Grand Prix starts, because he's got an extra year on Lando, hasn't he?
He's also in a different team. He's also in a different team.
He's
there must be an awful lot of
also yeah, he's also more mature as well. You can just tell by their attitudes. Like, you know, Russell is a very mature, stable-headed young man. He's got his bits in order. You know?
But what I'm saying is that the attitude and the management of the drivers in Mercedes is far superior than what it is in McLaren right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Last week, obviously, you know, is a good example, right? Where they just went, no, give it back.
yeah,
Right? I mean,
yeah.
like, and did you hear what Eddie Jordan said about it?
No,
Oh my God, Eddie Jordan was like, I don't know what he's doing. And if I was Norris, I mean, I know the team have got to say these things, but, you know, you want a driver that's going to really, like, you know. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anything you'd like to say to finish up with there?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Lucky, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I think.
Okay, wonderful.
I think perhaps the one thing I do like about Lando Norris is that he seems to be still having fun while driving F1. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing for his career, I don't know. But the lad certainly seems to be enjoying himself, which is more than some of them seem to be doing at the moment.
Very true. Very true. Some of them like Ocon. Yeah. Anyway, there we go. Okay, let's move on now to the last phase. Let me just get my button ready to press it for the new jingle. The new jingle.
Ooh.
Okay, here we go. Is it a myth? Is it a quiz? Is it a quiz or a myth? Is it a quiz or a myth with the window open? Who knows? Is it a myth or a quiz?
It's going to be a quiz for sure. But we might have a couple of random facts while we're doing things here.
I'll settle down then. Okay, carry on.
I'll be quick. Quick first random fact is 50 years ago this weekend, Jim Clark took his third consecutive Spa victory. A surprise win for him. In lap 31, he was actually lap 31 out of 32. He was actually in third place. The leader, who was Dan Gurney, ran out of fuel, and Graham Hill broke down. And if you remember those days, that was like a 14-mile lap round Spa. So he went into the last lap in third place and came out the winner, surprise winner. So there you go, 50 years ago today at Spa. So, quiz. Right. It's round 13 of the Formula One Trivia Intercontinental Championship. Fab's out in the lead, pulling ahead with 8 points. Simos dropping slightly back, still on 5, and Bob slightly behind him on 3. So, this question is about 3 events that had an incident that happened that was the same at each event. Okay, so you've got 3 events, 3 different tracks, 3 years. Each one of these events had a certain happening.
You want to know what the happening is. Sorry, go ahead.
I want to know what the happening was. Okay. So we'll go chronological order. Okay. Just shout out if you know the answer or if you think you know the answer. Okay. The first one is going to be, okay, you're only going to get 1 point. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to give you extra points. You're only getting 1 point. Okay. Simple as that. Okay. So first event would be the German Grand Prix in the year 2000 at Hockenheim. There was an event happened then.
Yeah.
During the race.
Mm-hmm.
That also happened at the other 2 events we're talking about.
Okay. I'll guess first. Fabio guessed last time. I think that was the year that there was a downpour and like multiple cars went off on the same corner, the last corner.
That may indeed have happened, but it's not what I'm thinking about.
Okay.
Once Fabio's guessed, I'll give you a wee bit of a clue, okay?
I've no idea. Go.
Okay.
Next.
Okay. Yeah. A small piece of clue. This didn't actually involve any of the cars. on track. Okay, so you've got an event.
Oh,
The
okay.
2000 German Grand Prix Hockenheim. It didn't
Yeah.
involve any cars. Okay.
Okay.
The second clue is going to be the 2003 British Grand Prix at Silverstone.
Yes. Okay.
Okay,
I guess we all know what it is.
Yeah. It was a
Right.
track invasion.
Yeah.
Can you be more specific?
But
More
somebody
specific?
was on the track
yeah.
demonstrating.
Yeah. Some guy mental, jumped in the track with flags and shit, and maybe it was a stripper. Yeah, but yeah.
Well,
and
unfortunately,
that's
it
what I
wasn't.
think.
Unfortunately, it wasn't a stripper, but you've got it.
Well,
both
I mean, are
basically
you
got it
racist
at the
towards?
same time.
Maybe he was a stripper in his private life. Why are you being racist? Come on.
Streaker. Yeah, there we go. Hey! I think Brian's gonna get a point for that. So yeah.
Okay, I'm actually putting a couple of links in chat for
Yeah,
video.
it was I think it was something about oil or trees. Something about
Well,
Yeah.
hold on. Just hold on.
Well, the one in Silverstone was a priest, wasn't he? Wasn't he?
that. And I think he was wearing a kilt as well, as I remember.
Yeah.
He's actually a guy from Northern Ireland.
Okay.
Who yes, he was a god lunatic. I put a couple of links in the chat there, Simos, just
Thank
to
you.
illustrate this. The last event I was going to go for, which I don't unfortunately have footage of, I can't find footage of, was the 2004 Spanish Grand Prix. And if you remember, as the cars went round for the formation lap, some idiot started running up the middle of the track on the start-finish line. I can't even remember what he was protesting, but
sorry, could you say that again? I was just getting the links ready.
The 2004 Spanish Grand Prix. There was also a guy ran up the middle of the track after the car.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. And that was that was something like a Catalan independence or something.
Yeah, or Basque separatists or something like that. Canary Island independent kind of people. But yeah, that's what happened. And Simons is the way to give you the videos of these two incidents. The one in Hockenheim was actually a guy from Belgium who'd worked for Mercedes but was laid off by Mercedes and was protesting the fact that he and his colleagues had been laid off. And here we go. Here's the first one. Here's the guy at Hockenheim. There's a commentary on this from Murray and
Mark.
And clearly either a bit too much beer there or he's hit his head on something because he's not being sensible at all. I've never seen this before. Have you ever seen it, Matt?
Well, I've seen it. But there he is. He's got some sort of a Mercedes-Benz slogan on the back of his plastic Mac. There you can see another additional car, and whoever it is going to be put into that car. He's made his point, whatever it is, and I hope he feels happy about it.
I think it was somebody fired from Mercedes, from the factory, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Here's the second one.
Now this is the Irish guy who's the priest. He was his slogans were "Read the Bible" and "The Bible is always right," or some crap like that.
Hockenheim a couple of years ago. We've got a lunatic on the track down the Hanger Straight, 160 miles an hour. The cars are doing as they come through there. Safety car out, of course. The drivers, oh my word, thinking about a pass there. David Coulthard on Olivier Panis. Well, what can you say? That is absolutely unbelievable.
The drivers giving him as wide a berth as they can, just swerving out of the way. What on earth are you doing? And luckily then the marshals have got to their safety car deployed, and outrageous. And luckily nobody damaged, nobody hurt. Safety car has picked up. Look at this message on the computer here. Man on track at turn 6. We had it in Hockenheim, didn't we, a few years back with a disgruntled Mercedes-Benz employee. We've got to work out.
There we go.
Who was the guy in the Jaguar which tried to run him over?
I think that was Webber.
Yeah.
It's not Irvine.
Was it?
Maybe Irvine.
It could have been.
Oh yeah. Might have been,
Everybody would
yeah.
have volunteered to hit him.
Oh yeah, fuck it.
Bub says that streaker was Manscaped. So thank you so much, Bub. Of course, favourite of the show, Manscaped. If you're hot down below in this weather, just shave your bollocks. Okay, there we go. So thank you so much.
You know who can't be Manscaped? The
Woman?
judges of that fucking final, because they got no balls. But hold on a second.
Okay.
Fucking mental.
Anybody want an ice cream?
Just give me 2 minutes, because I honestly thought
Yeah.
that I knew the angle that Lucky was going for the quid. And I think Lucky, I mean, no disrespect here, I really appreciate what you do, but I think you missed a good chance. Because, as you know, the Olympics are in Paris, and something interesting would have been if there has ever been motorsports at the Olympics.
Oh, yeah. That is an interesting one.
It is an interesting one, and I'll try to be super brief. Actually, in the year 1900, in Paris, of all places, they held the Olympics and the World Fair. So there were motorsport races. There were, like endurance races with cars, like track races. There was the Paris, Toulouse, Paris, like endurance, 2 races with motorcycle. The thing is that it's highly disputed if they were part of the Olympics, because the World Fair was happening at the same time, and the Olympic Committee was downplaying, some stuff. So it has never been sure if those were part of the Olympics or not. But if they were, there were actually, some motorsports races in the Olympics in the 1900, and most of the drivers were French. I think there was only one guy from Britain with an Napier, but Renault was there. And the other interesting thing is that the driver which won the Paris-Toulouse-Paris, I can't remember the name, but it was something. He ran under a pseudonym. Like Lefebvre, something like that. The funny thing is that his nephew ran the 24. It was the 24-hour. Years later, with the same name, and it was quite infamous because he was the one which crashed into phone trips, causing 80 deaths at the Le Mans. So I mean,
I'm thinking Lucky's probably got a video of that.
Sure, yeah.
There is video of it, but it was Charles Levay that caused the 80 people death at Le Mans. It wasn't.
And it was the nephew of the guy which won, some of the races in the 1900 Olympics in Paris, which we don't know if there were Olympics or not. So I was really thinking you were going for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Because.
Okay. So look, thank you so much for that.
I forgot. Totally.
We'll work out scores later. All I know is definitely Brian's got 1 point for that, because he correctly said streaker on track, which it looked like a streaker in the British one, I have to say. So there we go.
It would be better if it was a streaker.
Cycling I can see. Badger says cycling I can see, but not motorcycles. I could be wrong. Yes. You never know back then, because they did all sorts of weird and wonderful things.
Well, actually, there is a specialty in cycling.
Hang on.
Where they use a motorcycle.
There you go. Do you need a good body to do trail, Badger? Yes, you do. Okay, look, thank you so much, everybody. We're going to end the show there. Anything you want to say quickly, Lucky?
No.
Okay. In that case, we're going to finish on Bub's comment. He says, motor trail, let me just get this. Motor trail could easily be an Olympic sport. But fuck the Olympics. Satanic garbage. Satanic garbage.